Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another Premier Draft of Outlaws at Thunder Junction with an Alchemy card thrown into every pack, and we've got a really sweet starting pack here with tons of great options to go with. We've got excellent monocolored removal with Consuming Ashes, the safest pick. There's also Back for More, a great Reanimator spell in green-black that is removal and reanimation at instant speed. There's Triumphant Getaway, a pretty cool Alchemy card, a little bit difficult to cast, but heisting your opponent twice is pretty good. You pick the best card out of 3 at random twice. So you can get some really powerful spells off this, and you gain a bunch of life when you cast those. You drain your opponent for the life, so really nice, but really narrow. Blue, black, red specifically. I'm going to stay a little more open here and just grab the best monocolored card, but I think Getaway and Back for More are strong enough to take a gold card here if you are really wanting to do that. Pick number 2. What is this? Heist your opponent's library for 1 mana. Heist good enough? Pick one of their 3 cards at random. I feel like Heist is good enough that just 1 mana Heist is good. I mean, it's basically 1 mana instant. Look at the top 3. I mean, they're all non-lands when you Heist, though, so slightly better than that later in the game. It's interesting. It might be good enough, but Journey to Nowhere is like incredibly efficient removal. 2 mana to exile any creature, and exile is particularly good in the format. There's a lot of good graveyard recursion. So I'm going to go for the Journey to Nowhere, but I think Grave Expectations is an interesting, decently powerful Alchemy card. This is a very good pack. Again, Spinewood's Paladin, one of green's best commons. Huge creature and you gain life. Derailments, solid red removal. But I'm going to take that Journey. Just keep taking really efficient removal, so that we've got a good amount of removal in whatever we end up in. Alright, pick number 3. Servant of the Stinger is nice with a lot of crimes to commit, because there's enough bombs, you're almost always going to have like 1 bomb in your format to tutor up with this thing. So, you know, cash in your removal, kill their blocker, send in, tutor out your best card. It's pretty good. And just a 2 mana 1/3 Death Touch is already a solid blocker, so I like the Servant here. I also like Marauding Sphinx, pretty great in blue-black control-y stuff. So that could be a good pickup here. Blue-white control too, so either direction that'd be good, but I'm going to go for this Servant since we're already a card into that color. Pick 4, Desert Stew. Great instant speed removal, decently late here. We do want some deserts to go with it, but very into the card. Taking that over Spinewood's Paladin as the best common and Hellspur Brute as the best uncommon, but the Brute's a little narrow. You want to be like black-red where you have tons of outlaws. I guess we already have 1 outlaw in that direction, but Dew is super flexible. Great in every black deck. Pick 5. There's still a Dance of the Tumbleweeds here, and a Primal Knight, and a Patient Naturalist. All very good green cards. I really, really like the Dance of the Tumbleweeds, though. It is fixing as well as just a massive late-game threat. File Smasher would be fun, too, if we want to go outlaw aggro stuff, but I prefer the big, grindy, green, splashy decks. They play super well in this format that is loaded full of bombs that you can get past late, because not everybody can be a super multicolor splashy pile. Pick 6, this pack's pretty bad. Breaches is kind of good, but completely off color from where we're at. Yeah, I mean, it's like a really filler creature or a really filler removal spell. Just take the filler creature, I guess. Okay, this is way better than filler. Spinewood's Paladin, nice and late. Pick number 7. Big top-end beef. Gains a bunch of life to help stabilize against aggro. Pick 8, Festering Gulch. Perfect. We're in green and black here, and we want good deserts to tutor up with Dance of the Tumbleweeds, so we have 2 colors off of our ramp spell. Loving that. Pick 9 is now pretty much nothing. Neutralize the Guards is quite narrow, and removal spells that give your opponent back a creature are pretty much always unplayable in limited. You would way prefer something like Desert Stew or Consuming Ashes, so you're not 2-for-1ing yourself. Yeah, I'll just take Security or Gardener. I'll just take the Gardener, I guess, but we'll probably cut that. I mean, green has way better fixing like Dance of the Tumbleweeds. Pick 10. Nonsense we're not playing, but Sterling Hound is like a maybe. Very rarely will I want to play this, but if we have a ton of great graveyard recursions, Surveilling 2 can go up in value. I don't think I'm playing the Archway, because I'm usually splashing enough colors that a colorless land is painful, but still think that's the most likely of those cards. And a bunch of nonsense. as we move into pack number 2. Sometimes you win the lottery, folks. Sometimes you just open up the best on-color mythic. I guess because we're green-black, Gisa isn't like the absolute best on-color mythic, but she's got to be top 3. She's the best black mythic. Green has some absurd cards, though, like the Railway Brawler and stuff. But yeah, this is the best black rare or mythic, so we absolutely play that card. Shoot the Sheriff is awkward when you play against Rakdos or anything like that, but it's good against green. It's good against like the mounts decks. So it's good against green and white most of the time. It's that or Mirage Mesa. I probably still take Mirage Mesa. Since we have Desert Stew and Consuming Ashes for removal already. And it does feel so bad when you're playing against red-black and you have this. It's such a bummer. This Alchemy card, Prairie Survivalist, is very, very strong. One of your creatures gets +1/+0, and a creature in your hand gets +1/+0, so it's like +2/+0 every single turn. Worth the splash, though? You know what? I'm actually going to splash this thing in. I don't think it's like a great card for like a green-black splashy deck, because you really want to play this as early as possible, but it's so powerful it might be worth it. Speaking of being a green-black splashy deck, the white-black desert's a really high pick for us with Dance of the Tumbleweeds and splashing white in here. So I'm going to take that. It's also a crime for Gisa. I'm going to take that over Clear Shot or Tether. Because now that we are like locked in on splashing white, we have Journey and Desert Stew and Consuming Ashes already, so we're doing like really good. But let's really make sure the mana works out for us to get all these really powerful cards. Pick 4, Mourner Surprise, great with powerful spells like Gisa, well, powerful creatures like Gisa and Prairie Survivalist. Make sure that you will be able to recast them late. And it's just great in green-black in general. Graveyard Recursion. Frontier Seeker is really nice too, but this like really needs to be in the core color of your deck, because this is a card you curve out with on turn 2, and you need a bunch of plains in your deck. We're not going to have a bunch of plains in our deck. I mean, if we get enough deserts, we're not even going to run 1 plains, so. That is a good white card, but is not a good white splash. Shepherd of the Clouds is a good white splash. It's a 5-mana 4/3 flying vigilance, so it's a big enough creature to try to end the game on its own if your opponent doesn't have removal. And even if it doesn't end the game, it's got a really good enter the battlefield effect, giving you the ability to pick up your Prairie Survivalist from grave if you're lucky. 6/6. Pack is pretty empty for us. Honestly, I'm just going to rare draft here. We like might play a Heartless Pillage. We might play a Requisition Raid. I don't know. We're not splashing in more white, I think. It would just be like maybe a Pillage, but I'd rather just grab a fun little multicolored commander for my collection. 6/7, take a Bristlepack Sentry. I want to up our creature count here. Not that it's a particularly good creature, but it just gets on the board and it blocks early against more aggressive strategies to buy us the time to get to our crazy Gisa type stuff. Voracious Varmint does the same, and it gives us main deckable artifact enchantment removal. Bristlepack Sentry does the same. It's a late Trained Errants. Green-white mounts would be a really solid spot to be in this draft pod. We'd have Shepherd and Survivalist. Trained Errants. Do I pivot off black for that? There's no way. When I have Gisa in the deck, I don't think I can afford to do that. If it weren't for the Gisa, though, I might go full green-white at this point. But I have a Gisa, so that's not happening. Even if black is more heavily drafted than white in the pod, it is going to be worth having some more mediocre filler cards in order to have something as busted as Gisa. How many playables do we have right now? We have 2 lands, which means we have 16 out of 23 non-land cards. I think I can afford to pass up on a mediocre filler card like Ankle Biter to just rare draft again, so I'm going to do that. My second Surgical Extraction. Oh my god. White is so much more open than black. Pick 11 Mystical Tether? That's a rarity. This is white's best common removal spell. Take an Outlaw Medic. I mean, if we're going to get stuff like that late, it might still end up that white becomes a core color. I guess our most mediocre filler is like Bristlepack Sentry and Voracious Varmint and stuff. What if we just go white-black with enough cards? Our best green cards are Dance and Paladin, and that's it. We could just go black-white, actually, maybe. Need a lot of cards to do that. I need like every card to be a playable out of the last pack, but it could happen. 5 mana, 5/5 trample. At the beginning of your end step, non-land cards in your hand perpetually gain this spell, cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, but at that point you already cast a 5 mana spell, so that's not crazy. This card's fine. Not really busted though in a format that has cards like Gisa and Prairie Survivalist and stuff, so I'm not that pumped about it. I'm pretty pumped about a Rutstein, even if this is going to be off the splash. Yeah, like, what if we just go green, or sorry, black-white splash in the green? Just splash in, like, a Rutstein to Graveyard Recur or Gisa or our Prairie Survivalist or something. That really feels like a place we could be. I'm going to take the Rutstein over Claim Jumper, mainly, which is mediocre on the play, but pretty good on the draw. So it's kind of a narrow card. What is this one? Cathartic Operation. Return 2 creatures from your grave to your hand, then seek 2 non-creature non-land spells. So it's a 5 mana instant speed, draw 4. It's pretty good, but we're not going to be blue-black here. All right. Conduit Pylons for fixing. No on-color stuff, unless we are still playing green heavily, then we play a Paladin. I guess there's the Shoot the Sheriff, but I have Ashes, Tether, and Desert Stew, and Journey to Nowhere. I don't think I'm going to play a Shoot in here. I could play a Stagecoach Security, but yeah, I'll take Pylons for fixing. Pack 3, pick 3. Another Consuming Ashes looks pretty good. Treasure Dredger would be fine. I'll take the Consuming Ashes, though. Now, an Unfortunate Accident is removal plus a Mercenary, which is really good. We could also splash in a Back for War. Be fine. We're at 15 playables. We need to find... God, we need to find 8 playables out of this pack. It is possible. I think this is a high enough mana value card to splash in. I actually might go for the Back for More. Back for Mooring a Shepherd or a Gisa or something is pretty sweet. It's worse here, though, because we don't have, like, the big green creatures to reanimate. Still might be better than Accident. I think it might be. I'm going to go for the Back for More. That could be wrong. Badlands Revival? Okay, Badlands Revival is better than Back for More. I think I would have been happier to end up with just a Badlands Revival instead of Revival plus Back for More there. That way we'd have just like 3 Ashes and a Badlands Revival, but hey. Badlands Revival is still better than Thoughtseize or Mourner Surprise or Stagecoach Security. Well, we get another Consuming Ashes anyway? This is insane. I need more 2-drops, but I guess I'll just have infinite removal. I don't think I need another 3-drop creature. The Apothecary's pretty good, though, because we're doing so much crime. But still take the Ashes. We might play Armadillo. This might be my first deck that I stoop down to that level to make sure I have the cheap creatures, because our late game is so insanely good with the amount of removal we have that just blocking early is kind of a requirement, and we have 3 creatures that cost 2 or less, so I kind of want to block a little bit more. Oh, there we go, perfect. What is going on? I thought white was more open than black, but then we got 2 Consuming Ashes and a Servant, pick 8. Whoa. Whoa. Well, we take the Servant over the Ashes when we have 3 Consuming Ashes, Journey to Nowhere, Desert Stew, Mystical Tether, Back for More. So, let's get the cheap blocker. Speaking of cheap blockers, this Ariet's Lullaby kind of counts as a cheap blocker. Doesn't work against vigilance creatures, but non-vigilant creatures, you just clear it out, gain a couple life. It's probably going to get cut, though, with this much removal. Pick 10, now we take a Stagecoach Security, filler top-end creature, filler top-end creature with the muscle, and boom! We have 23 non-land cards. I'm just going to rare draft this. Rare draft this. Rare draft this. I am not playing Corrupted Conviction in a deck with no token production. And very somewhat low creature count. What do we have, like 12 creatures or something? Okay. Black, white, splash green is where I've decided to be. I'll go and splash in a paladin too, probably. I think I'm throwing Boombox in because I have so much other removal. But where are we at here? We're at mostly play a bunch of mediocre early blockers, but then a bunch of excellent removal and insane bombs. It's a deck plan. Yeah, I'd rather play Paladin over the Overzealous Muscle, even if I have to splash it in. So I'll do that. And that's just the deck, right? Sure is. Let's check our mana base. We've got 11 black cards, 9 white, 4 green. We are on 7 white sources plus conduit pylons, so 8 white sources. And for black, we're on 5, 6, 7, 8. Green is 4. 5 because the conduit pylons. That's just really good mana. I don't think we edit that at all. We're just cool with it, and we call it a deck here. All right, here's a look at our final deck list for today. We're on an Abzan control bomb pile. We got a bunch of mediocre early creatures just to stay alive. Cards like Armadillo and Outlaw Medic, Oasis Gardener for fixing in some life gain. But we do have some really, really great cards in this deck. A whole ton of removal. Some great ones like Consuming Ashes, Mystical Tether, Journey to Nowhere. Some more mediocre removal like Ariette's Lullaby just to stay alive. But that means we're committing tons and tons of crimes and dealing with all of our opponent's threats, so that when we play something like Gisa, we're spitting out zombies all over the place off of the crime abilities, and we're surviving long enough to spit out something like Gisa, or a prairie survivalist with tons of ways to reanimate them and just keep them running around. We've got the Mourner Surprise, triple consuming it, or that's not Graveyard Recursion. We've got the Mourner Surprise, Badlands Revival, and Back for More to keep our bombs around, and the double Servant of the Stinger are going to be really nice in the deck, where they're doubling up as both early blockers to keep us alive, as well as being ways to tutor for our Gisa. When we have so many crimes in this deck, we can really consistently make sure we have turn 5 Gisas with a double Servant to search them out. So looks like a super, super sweet deck here. Pretty grindy one, just trying to tutor up some bombs and go crazy. But it's got a lot of longevity with this much removal, so hopefully we can dirtle around long enough to find our super explosive spells and take over the game from there. See how it all plays out as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. We don't have a lot of threats of our own, but that's going to be pretty consistent with this deck. And this has plenty of ways to stay alive for a while. In particular, being able to Consuming Ashes, something that actually lets us surveil, could be a pretty big deal. To actually find some kind of threat. Now we've got a 4/3 Flying Vigilance. Obviously, we would prefer to recur something from our grave when we cast this, but just as a flying finisher, could still be okay. I'm gonna deal with this Canyon Crab before they draw any cards off of it. Not really. They draw a card, discard a card off of it. I think that's okay. Yeah, so they're going to plot, what is that, Wolverine? Oh, Stingerback Terror. Well, good to save removal for that thing. I don't have the second black for Consuming Ashes yet, so that could be awkward. Ooh. I like that a lot. Do I like that enough to not plot Stagecoach Security this turn? Probably not, right? Because otherwise I go Servant of the Stinger, next turn I go removal on Stingerback Terror, hope that the Servant can get in, but they're going to have 4 mana up to play anything else, so they just play like a 3/3, the Servant still can't get in. Yeah, it's unlikely that we're following up with a good Servant play next turn. Well, they're going to have 4 mana up for whatever they want. But just putting a 4/5 on the board is going to be super fine. Yeah. I guess Servant would get through Crom. I would trade into it. Which would be A-okay. Ooh, Prairie Survivalist pre-combat 100%, right? Yeah. I'm only killing one of their cards this way, but we can kill the Crom here to shut off their card draw. think that is worse for us than the Terror. We just take a couple hits from Terror for a little bit, and we'll be okay with that. And Survivalist is great with the Shepherd, because that's giving us something to recur with it. And it's perpetually, so even when I recur it, it's going to keep the buff. I guess I might as well pre-combat this thing, but I'm just perpetually buffing Survivalist. And Shepherd, I don't think Servant needs to be any bigger. It already has Death Touch. Since I can't add to its toughness anyway, I don't think we make the... I guess making it a little bigger could be okay if they're in a position where they have to double block to kill it. That still seems rare. I think we're just loading up the Shepherd. And so here's a big part of why we didn't kill Stingerback Terror. They still have a bunch of cards in hand, so it's pretty small. And the Crom actually has abilities. The Terror is just power and toughness. And that power and toughness is not very high, as long as they keep playing card draw. They're going to plot a card to make that a 2-2 and get in for 2, sure. They didn't kill Prairie Survivalist yet, so we've got the aggressive lead on board. I mean, we perpetually buff security just so we can attack in a crab for 5. They can't bounce off of it. I think that is going to be worth giving the security 1 perpetual buff. There's the second black source for Consuming Ashes. I could also just cast Shepherd, but I still really don't want to cast Shepherd without picking something up. So, do I just hold up Consuming Ashes? Could cast a Stinger and Deserts do the Terror. It's pretty good too. And I still have a backup Consuming Ashes for next turn. That feels better. I could have waited on the Deserts Dew since it is -3/-3 thanks to Conduit Pylons. I just forgot it was -3/-3. The risk in waiting to do it is that they can like dump their hand out at instant speed and buff this to make it big enough to survive. But -3/-3 would make it a little more difficult to do that. Alright, derail the Survivalist, so we're just going to Shepherd it back to hand. Unfortunately, we don't have any mounts in this deck, so the Shepherd can't put it back on board, but still getting in the hand is pretty good. They cannot kill Servant of the Stinger on blocks, so I could Consuming Ashes trying to get to a Gisa, but I would have to spend Consuming Ashes on something that isn't even very good, so I would rather just play Shepherd. And save Consuming Ashes for an actual threat. There's the Chump with the Canyon Crab. Playing against blue-red, I'm not going to hold this in hand in case of a discard spell. If we were against black, I might, because there's that big flyer that makes you discard a card when your opponent draws a card. Ooh, Lockpicker. What do they have to flashback? The Derailment, right? Yeah. There goes the Shepherd. But we still have the Prairie Survivalist. And a beefy Stagecoach security. Mystical Tether is the draw, so I can Tether and Survivalist in the same turn and still have a Consuming Ashes left over, which feels really good, because then we can Servant up Gisa on this attack, because their block is just bad already. Pick up a Gisa. You know, Back for More might be better in this hand. Or Badlands Revival, actually. I actually think Badlands Revival is better for this hand. Because if we play a Gisa, we're not going to have an instant crime for her anyway. Like, if we had a tap land that commits a crime when we play it, should probably be better. But we currently have a 6/3 Flying Vigilance in our graveyard that also reanimates another card when we put it on board, so we have ridiculous Badlands Revival plays. The pulverizer is a little annoying, but we can consume it. So we can Badlands Revival, Shepherd, and a Swamp, and then Shepherd picks up the Servants. Or the other way around. Either way, we're going to get all of those cards back to the board, but then I don't attack them at all this turn. They're at 7, so I think we just hit them as hard as we can. If I just kill the Pulverizer, they can't block well on the ground, they just chomp, and they can't block in the sky at all, so we'll do that. They do have to chomp too. 8 damage. Yeah, I'm now noticing that with the 2 cards that sacrifice themselves to search for anything in our deck, we can like loop them. Because we have Badlands Revival and back for more, we can use them to search for the Badlands Revival, get them back, search for another card with them later. Like, that could be really gross. Speaking of really gross, top decking lethal is not fun for our opponent. But sometimes you top deck lethal. And we are going to start things off 1-0, heading into game 2. Alright, well, this hand's a little awkward. I kind of think I still keep it. It's turn 2 Armadillo to block, and then turn 4 Tether. We're kind of just vibing. But we've got a great late game play. We have early interaction, and we set up the draw a little here. That could quickly turn into Flood, because that's our 5th land. I mean, it lets us play on curve and play Tether on 3 instead of 4 mana. But yeah, I was going to say, if we hit like any planes, that card is just going to be so bad. Land number 6. So really lucky it was 2 planes in a row. That means surveilling the planes into the grave was by far the best option. We're against another blue-red deck, and Impetuous Lootmonger, we're just going to block that forever. What I don't like is Heist. Heist is so rough in this format because, again, every deck has a bomb or 2, so if your opponent finds your bomb and kills you with it, that's always the worst feeling in the universe. Our deck is really well positioned against our bombs, though. If they play our own bomb against us, the biggest bummer is that we won't get to cast it. The fact that they played a bomb against us, not that big of a deal, we just kill it. But the fact that we don't get to cast it is a pretty big deal, because we don't have that many win conditions in here. So losing one of them is an issue. Like if we just don't have a Gisa anymore because it's been stolen out of our deck, that's rough. Alright, pass turn. That makes it more likely to be Gisa, because it's not anything they want to cast for 4. We have a million removal spells too, though, so it could just be removal from our opponent. I can't hold up Consuming Ashes or Tether no matter what I do, so I might as well play the Oasis Gardener and pass. They might even think I need the fixing and countered or something. But I don't. I've got tons of mana, and we have a Pylons making the mana fine. Okay. Oh, that's really good for me. They derailed an artifact early. If they just waited till later, they could have killed 2 of our cards with that, because that was an artifact. So they could have like killed the creature and the artifact, and that would have been very sad. They're leaving 1 and a blue up for the counter unless you pay 2, potentially. So I'm going to play around that with a plotted Stagecoach security. I could play Shepherd of the Cosmos, or Shepherd of the Clouds right now. But if I do that, and they have the counter unless I pay 2, it's going to hurt a lot. This way, they can't do the counter unless we pay 2 at all. And we still have a good blocker next turn. We're not under any pressure, so we'll play it slow. I'm at 22 life. They hit us for like 5 if they kill my Armadillo, which would mean they spent removal on Armadillo, which is not really what you ever want to have to do. I don't think it matters what we block, right? None of these do anything if they hit us. I guess Lootmonger's more damage if they don't cast anything here, so we'll block that one. If they cast anything, the Armadillo is going to die. But it's going to die either way, so if they don't cast something, blocking Lootmonger's better. Now I have Consuming Ashes mana through the counterspell. But I also have a free stagecoach security through the counterspell. Unless it's the rare counter. Oh, you know what's very cute here? If I didn't care about holding up removal, I could make Armadillo a 5/5 because it has 5 toughness. Ooh. I do care about holding up removal, though. I'm going to removal in their end step, since I can now afford to cast removal and play around the counterspell. Then next turn I can play the Shepherd, play around the counterspell. Again, they might like not even have the counterspell in hand, but when we're under like no life total pressure, I don't think there's a big reason not to play around it. I'm gonna kill this Lazov here before they untap. Not really. They still have more than enough mana for anything that would counter Consuming Ashes anyway. And I don't care too much if they exile more cards from our grave. The only thing that they could exile from our grave that super matters was the Oasis Gardener that they already exiled, because now I have no Shepherd targets, so they exile security, whatever. I am threatening to kill this Lootmonger if they don't do anything, but then I'm tapping out of removal. I can force them to spend a combat trick to kill the Armadillo. This is probably worth it. So they have to do something about Armadillo. I guess they don't have to. Oh, it was Mourner's Surprise, okay. That's actually not okay, though, because that gives them another chance of hitting Argisa. Oh, Lootmonger. You freaking freak. Badlands Revival now. They do not have a blue mana up, but I also have 7 mana up already, so that doesn't matter. If I play the Shepherd, I'm picking up a Plains. They have another card out of my deck, which feels, with the way our deck is built, to be insanely likely to just be removal. Is there any way to double spell here? I could Mystical Tether and hold up Consuming Ashes. Unless they have the counterspell. I kind of want to get rid of Lazov. He's starting to get pretty annoying. Now that we have a Badlands Revival in hand alongside the Shepherd, we have 2 pieces of recursion, and if we draw any more, it's just going to get worse for us. Okay. I'm not technically holding up the Armadillo's ability now, but they might think I am, and it could get them to not attack. I guess it blocks a 3/2 first striker, even if I don't activate it. So we're good. We're chilling. Okay, yep, they hit removal. That was pretty likely. Super happy they heisted twice and did not find Gisa. If I spend Consuming Ashes on this Lootmonger, then any graveyard recursion they have is not gonna let them heist us again. So it is tempting, but the issue with doing that is that then I'm out of removal in hand. And we've already used 1 Ashes, another Ashes, and a Tether. I guess I've got a decent amount of removal still, just because we have so much. We still have Lullaby, Journey to Nowhere, Desert's Dew, another Consuming Ashes, a Back for More. Yeah, we actually have enough removal to do this. They didn't have the counterspell the whole time. Because if they did, they have the treasure to cast it. I was playing around ghosts. I was scared of my shadow. Happens a lot. You'd be surprised. Most neurotic Magic streamer back at it again. Let's go. I'm not even a streamer lately. I'm not going to be able to pick up more time over on the Twitch channel till probably August. Because I'm gearing up to move, and I'm working a lot over the summer. But I want to be a streamer again. I enjoy streaming over on Twitch. Well, I'm literally just picking up a land with Shepherd, but whatever. It's a better body than a 4/5. So we'll play that instead of the thingy. You know what? The 1 damage doesn't matter very much. The mana doesn't matter a ton. I guess getting to 9 mana is big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the mana could matter enough that it is best to just immediately play the Gulch. Because then if I top deck a land, I can play Badlands Revival and hold up the Ashes, which is good. I'm just considering, since they didn't manage to get our Gisa, like, if we draw into a Gisa, having a way to commit a crime immediately for free in the same turn is a really good, really big deal, so it might have been better to not play the land there. A Shepherd to the board, Purity to the hand. Shepherd puts another land on board. Doesn't really matter. I've got tons of all my mana. Oh, Shepherd puts it in hand, that's right. I guess I get to plot this. I'm not holding up the Ashes, but then I've got all the mana out of the way for the security next turn, which gives me enough mana to play a Gisa and an Ashes if I draw into her, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Gisa, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Consuming Ashes because we only have 3 black sources, so we need to spend a 5th mana to filter a black through the Conduit pylon. So yeah, by plotting Stagecoach Security, if we top deck Gisa, we've got exactly the mana we need to cast her and a crime in the same turn. We're in a bit of a top deck board, but we have the better board by a good margin. Because I get to hit them for 4 in the sky every turn, and I have a 5 toughness blocker to stop their 4 power Vault Plunderer. It's a 3/1 getting +1/+0 from the Mercenary every turn. So on board, we take a hit this turn, but then we get to keep hitting them while taking nothing on the crackback. So I think we are favored here. But each of us has a low enough number of cards in hand that whoever draws better cards could still absolutely flip this game around. All right, our opponent completely closed the arena client, or something came up IRL, or something. They just timed out there, and we are now 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are for game 3. We need a black mana pretty badly, but any land gives us it off of Oasis Gardener. A little risky, but we have 2 spells no matter what. Any land in the whole deck gives us a 3rd spell, and if that 3rd spell isn't killed, we can cast basically the whole hand. Not the Consuming Ashes, but more than enough of these cards. I think I Servant first, in case we hit any other crimes, because the ability when we hit our opponent is so good. In this deck in particular. Okay, this is a great Gardener turn. Oak for 1. Playing against green-white, they've got some mana ramp with the Hard Bristle Bandit. Green, white, and red, and there's another bandit, so they are really ramping up here, especially if they commit a crime. That's going to get quick. We've got 5 mana. So we could have 6 mana up next turn. If they let the Servant in, it might be worth Consuming Ashes and a bandit. And just grabbing Gisa. I can actually attack with both of these and still have the mana to do that. Alright. This is fine with a back for more. Still in the deck. I'm going to search my library so these don't matter. We just make us less likely to hit more lands, I think. Actually, I'll keep the Gulch in there because we're going to be drawing Gisa, right? Keep that as a potential draw. I believe the play is Gisa. But it could be Shepherd pick up the thing. and start doing the loops, which is fun. But I'm just gonna go Gisa. If we had a desert in hand, it would be 100% Gisa. Okay. Don't have the mana to cast Gisa and commit a crime, but just casting Gisa is kind of okay with a back for more in the hand. Right, because then they just dump all their mana into killing Gisa, unless it's exile removal. We're just gonna back for more Gisa, and then we get to commit a crime the second she hits the board. And instantly get zombies out of her. Right, so it's like, they tap out to kill Gisa, they pass to me, I back for more Gisa, kill the Wrangler, get 2 zombies, and they have to kill her again, spending their whole turn and a card to do it. This feels super worth it. Right, because unless it's Mystical Tether that exiles Gisa, we should be good here. Okay, here's the one problem with this plan. What if they don't kill Gisa? Then we don't have a crime. Interesting. Well. Well. Then, since I have the 6 mana for back for more without Gisa, I send in a 2/2, but then I trade into a token that they're getting a replacement of every turn. Maybe I back for more the Death Toucher to kill the Wrangler, but they have so much mana up here. They're just holding up like Snakeskin Veil trick stuff. Yeah, it's actually really awkward if they don't just like kill Gisa. I guess them killing Gisa in combat ends up being pretty good for us then. So we allow that to be a possibility. And they probably just like play around a combat trick here and take 4. Putting them to 12 feels good. Yeah, that's fine too. Now, if they do tap out for like a tether on Gisa or something that'll exile her, I can back for more in response to get at least 2 zombies onto the board for later. It's a giant beaver, that's not removal. They've got, what, Snakeskin Veil mana up for their end step? Let's get the zombies for menacing attackers, right? So we bring back the Servant right now, and I guess I fight the beaver instead of the flyer. I just take 2 and we're cool. Well, it's probably best to fight the Wrangler, but they had to cast a spell this turn. They're going to have to cast a spell during their turn, like, to live next turn, so I still think probably Beaver's better. They can't deal with Gisa for 2 mana. She has Ward 2, so we know we get the zombies here. They probably just have a Snakeskin Veil. That's fine. I still have 2 3/3s with Menace. I still have a Gisa. They can't have... Oh, they have Hard Bristle Bandit. I lied. They can have something that kills Gisa if they have a 1 mana removal spell. Okay, Snakeskin Veil. Cool. They're at 12. We have 2 3/3s Menace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can have the mana to double buff Armadillo? That's kind of wild, right? Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boom. Yeah, block the Armadillo makes sense. Alright, well. No crime to commit this turn, but they're still down to 5. It's actually really rough that we have not drawn any crimes to go with Gisa, because we're just so loaded with removal. We've got like 10, at least. I wonder, I haven't counted, how many crimes are left in the deck at this point? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost 10. We still have 8 crimes. Which means, what do we have? 8, 9, 10. We have 10 crimes in the deck total. So here's the journey for the Wrangler. Commit a crime even if they have Snakeskin Veil. Alright, they're done. They're over it. They just didn't have removal for Gisa at all. The game would have been winnable for them if they had like a single Mystical Tether or something. They had removal that would make it so we can't reanimate Gisa, but we got pretty lucky there and they just didn't hit any removal, so. There are many bombs in the format that will win games against 0 removal, and Gisa is certainly one of them. We are now 3-0 heading into game number 4. Here we are for game 4, really slow hand, and there's no black mana for the 3 black spells in it, so I think we take a mulligan on that one. This has our core colors. It's got turn 2 Servant. No crime to commit. I think we ditch the Shepherd when we have a Gisa at the top end. Although Shepherd Servant is pretty sick, and we're starting with 3 out of 5 mana. I could see us drawing into literally like any crime and then using Servant to pick up a land towards Gisa. I actually think we do this, right? Because if we don't hit lands, that means we're hitting spells, and if we're hitting spells, 10 of them are crimes. So we can do the Servant sack thing, and we just turn the Servant into a land then. So like if we're locked in, guaranteed to get to the 5 mana, it's better to have Gisa and Shepherd together, I think. And with the number of crimes in the deck, I think we are. If we keep Servant kind of locked into hitting crimes. Might actually be better to hold that as a blocker against red. But it's red, blue, black, so it's probably control-ish. They might blow it up. They're gonna heist us instead. Ah, joke's on you, Gisa's gone. Can't heist that. What's our other bomb? Oh, it's the 2 mana creature? That would be really bad for us, because we don't have any removal yet. We don't have any crimes yet. So if they play the perpetual +1/+0 thing, that'd be bad. Be quite bad. But again, with the amount of crimes in our deck, the amount of removal in our deck, the most likely scenario is they found our removal instead of us finding our removal. And they just get to use it on Gisa, which would be sad. Because almost all of our removal exiles, so can't Badlands Revival. Holy cow. Get in the grave so I can pick you up with Shepherd next turn. So we can get the removal to be spent on not Gisa, right? I guess Lazov can just exile the Holy Cow, sadly. Lazov is annoying with the amount of graveyard recursion we have. I'm going to hold the Servant back. I think Lazov's annoying enough to block if they don't specifically kill Servant. Even if they make Lazov like 3 power, I'll still just take a trade at this point. We are not drawing our crimes. The 10 crimes are hiding. Outlaw Stitcher, just for some blocks, that is A-okay. There's a crime. Well, if they did get exile removal from our deck, they need another basic to play it if it's the cheapest removal in our whole deck, which is Mystical Tether. No, Journey to Nowhere is cheaper. If they got exactly Journey to Nowhere they got us here, we have 1 copy of Journey to Nowhere and 1 copy of Mystical Tether. So there's 2 cards they could have, though, to exile Gisa off of 5 lands. I think I play her with those odds. There's only 2 cards in our deck that they could have hit that would exile Gisa, and anything in their deck doesn't exile unless they have 6 mana. Okay, it's the Prairie Survivalist. Cool. So they did get the literal best hit left, then. They got the other bomb. Tyrant scoring the Servant. Alright, they're just going to try to outrace Gisa. Let's see how this works out for them. Hopefully not well, but Survivalist does a lot of work towards that, so we're going to have to consume the Survivalist, which is sad, consuming our own card. Yeah, I guess they can't attack on the ground at all. They're tapped out, so Gisa just blocks. So they just hit us for 3. Yeah, I think we can outrace this, especially if they don't have exile removal. We just consume the survivalists to get the zombies. Do it while they're tapped out against counters and stuff. As much as I want to exile this Lazov, like, them blanking all our graveyard recursion is so nasty. But hey, Gisa's so nasty too. Definitely can't attack it. They can just double block and kill Gisa. They only lose one creature. Now they have the mana to deal 4 to Gisa if they tap out completely. And then we would just graveyard recursion her. Because they couldn't exile from her grave. Exile her from the grave and kill her in the same turn. Because Lazov triggers before she technically dies. Cha-ching. Crimes. Let's go. Now we're going to shepherd the servant back. Unless they commit a crime. Which is very possible. Hypothesizzle to kill the other zombie. Alright, well. Goodbye, my friend. I don't even remember what it was. Servant of the Stinger, yeah. So now the only thing that picks up, or that I pick up, is a plains, but we still just pick up a plains. Better to play a 4-3 Flying Vigilance than a 3-2, if neither of their enter the battlefield effects do anything at this point. They found the Collective Defiance, so they tap out and pay 2 life and finally deal with Gisa. But then I pick her up and recast her next turn. There's some crimes I could top deck here. But if nothing else, I'm getting menacing zombie damage in. Lazov might outrace us. Which is wild. Okay, we didn't hit a crime. We can Badlands Revival Gisa. I mean, we need to put Gisa on board no matter what. I don't think we can Rutstein Gisa, because we don't have enough black mana, because I have to use Gulch for the green. I have to go green, black, 1. Then I have the 4 mana for Gisa, but I don't have enough black left over because, again, Gulch was on green. So I have to do Revival. I have to Revival Gisa and then play Servant, which means not getting that much Revival value. It's just 1 for 1, but it's still worth it when the 1 card is Gisa. They're down to 6. Rakdos the Muscle. That's not haste or anything, right? That's not a crime, though. So they're at 6. Is this lethal on board? This might be lethal on board. This is stupid math, though. There's a block there. Block there. Then they can't block the Menace, so they die. I think it's lethal on board. Right? This is the most damage. This is the most damage. This there takes 6. If I messed up this math, then whatever, we lose. But I'm fairly certain we just win because of Menace. I feel like even if we mess up this math, we probably still kill them next turn. No, probably not, because they get 2 free kills. But yeah, this looks like super lethal. And it is super lethal. Really close game. Lazov protected our opponent a lot. This would have been very, very lopsided without Lazov because of the amount of graveyard recursion we had there. Right, if the Holy Cow was actually in our grave, if the Servant stayed in grave, our graveyard recursion spells would have been so much better, but Gisa was still very stupid and fights her way through Lazov, Rakdos. And what are we, 4-0 now? We're guaranteed to break even on our gyms here. 1 more win, and we're in the money. Super sweet spot to be as we head into Game 5. Ooh, we got a turn 2 Survivalist this game. We've got a few pieces of graveyard recursion in here, so that is definitely something we'll just slam out as quickly as possible. With no fear. Our opponent's on the play. They mulligan to 6. And there's the graveyard recursion. We've got the Badlands Revival. They are on black-red. They could have the consuming thingy. The Exile Survivalist. But also they're on black-red, so they could also just have 2 mana destroy this before I get any perpetual buffs. That would definitely be the play. If they're holding off here, that means they probably have... Well, they definitely have a 2 mana instant, probably 2 mana removal. Alright, well that's cool. Luckily, we got 1 trigger, even if they kill it. Then it'll come back bigger when we Badlands Revival. And security's also bigger. Okay, there's the Desert Stew. That might have been the top deck. I think they at least would have killed it in the end step, if they had that already. So Oasis Gardener into Badlands Revival next turn honestly might be worth it, even though we're only picking up 1 card. The Survivalist is just such a good card, it could be worth it, but we can also just slam down the Stagecoach security here, and that's fine too. We get to wait. Yeah. I have enough crimes in this hand. Servant is a reasonable play too. But I'm just going to play the security. But Servant into trying to tutor up Gisa is definitely a thing. Double Servant have got to be the MVPs of this deck. They are just so good with how many crimes we have and with the power level of the bombs that we have. Alright. Rictus Rubber for the 2-for-1 after the removal spell. Pretty good. But now our Badlands Revival gets to be a full-on 2-for-1. I am 1 mana off from casting the 2-drop and getting security on board. That would be really, really good, but I don't want to spend any removal on a 4-3 and a 2-2. So let's take a hit here, I think. Or lose 1 perpetual buff. Yeah, let's lose a perpetual buff. Let's get the mana payoff here. I'm cool to lose Gardener. We can still play 2-drop and then a 3 mana removal spell next turn. So I'll get the extra damage off of it. Or trade into the Robber. Roxanne, well, actually worked insanely well to do that how I did it, because otherwise they would have just meteorited the Survivalist. And I would rather Consuming Ashes than Mystical Tether, because technically they can get out of a Mystical Tether, and Roxanne is a huge deal. We don't want to leave we don't want to leave them open to saving Roxanne with some kind of main deck enchantment removal. Alright, cool. Wipe the board. They've got 2 cards left in hand. We've got the removal spell for one of them. Ooh, Gigapede's very good against Survivalist. That was a good one there. Oh, hello. Speaking of good ones. We just spend 6 mana, don't we? 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Boom. We cast the Servant post-combat because it gets the buff for being in our hand. So we get to buff something on board and in hand there. Black is so good in this format. Just picking up your bombs over and over again is stupid. Picking up so many different value plays. They don't even have to be just like bomb rares or anything. I will take 6. We can basically treat Servant like it's a copy of Gisa, and there's no way we would block Gigapede with Gisa there. That's a very good draw. Wow. Yeah. Lets us keep the Mystical Tether. Pretty happy with that. I might pick up more graveyard recursion off of the servant. Uh-oh. I guess I don't get to pick up anything off the servant. No, yeah, it's permadead. Fair enough. No tutor for me. It is still a 1-for-1 trade, though. We traded it into Magda. That's not that bad. Hellspur Posse Boss. That's pretty bad. I can exile their only flyer, though. And keep racing with Survivalist. Well, that's quite the swing in life totals, thanks to Lifelink plus Mercenaries. Another excellent top deck here. 1 mana off from holding up instant speed Mystical Tether. But I would still rather save Mystical Tether than Desert Stew. Survivalist outraces here. It's 2 more hits and they're dead. I gotta find removal. So Loot Monger? No, that's almost definitely removal. Wow, that was bold, though. They discard a Rankle for it? Yeah, they could have just played a Rankle to trade in Survivalist, but I had the removal in hand, so I guess, yeah. It's probably removal for Survivalist, and then they win. Hopefully not, though, and then 1 Mystical Tether at instant speed is enough for us to win. Kill them in 2 swings, even if I don't tap the Mercenary, so let's save a Chump Blocker. It would have to be 5 mana removal if that's what they got from our deck. If they had the choice between removal and, like, Agisa? Ooh. Well, they hit removal. So we lose, right? Yeah, I can't. But it depends where they put the Gigapede ability. Yeah, if they put Gigapede ability on Survivalist, I can't do anything here. I can tether Gigapede to save the fight card, but obviously because Gigapede would die in the fight with Survivalist, they'll just -2/-2 instead. And so that's game. Heist is such an annoying mechanic. You just die to your own cards. Yeah, we don't have any response here. I can tether Gigapede to keep a 1/1 on board. I don't even think that really matters. We top deck Shepherd. That picks up the Survivalist, but the Survivalist doesn't have haste. But then I get to have 3 blockers next turn. Well, what else can that pick up? Oasis Gardener? I guess. This would mean 1 more blocker for future turns if the Shepherd grind is enough. But they just use the Mercenaries to buff the other creatures. So that I can't do anything but chump here. We take 5, or we chump. I think we take 5, and then we have 3 blockers left against 4 creatures when we Shepherd. I think so. I only have 2 mana left, though, actually. So the only thing that I can recast is a Servant of the Stinger, and I have to recast whatever I pick up immediately, so I have to choose Servant of the Stinger. I can't choose Prairie Survivalist because I don't have double white. If I had another Plains, I could pick up the Survivalist. But I have to go Shepherd and Stinger. And I need them to not have any removal for Shepherd, so that I can then just block 2 creatures, go to like 1, and then kill them with a flying attack. There is a chance here if they have nothing in hand, we can win this game. Off of Shepherd. It doesn't even have to be nothing in hand. They could have ground creatures, non-outlaw ground creatures. Outlaws would have haste and kill us, but if they have like giant beaver or something, we're fine. But if they have removal, yeah. All right. GG. Wait, unless they do this. Then we kill them. Ah, the Vault Plunder, though. Come on. Wow. Seems good. Yeah, that would be the only reason they attack like that, because otherwise they could have just buffed. They could have just used these to make both of the other creatures 3 power. And then I'm forced into trades instead of favorable blocks. They could have just pre-commented the Plunder and hasted it out. Yeah, they just got excited about a silly win instead of just more damage. Yeah, we could have been even more dead, actually. Because we were completely tapped out. If they just did that pre-combat, we'd be at even more negative life. Because it was an outlaw, so it had haste too. Yeah, we were so dead. Alright. That is 4-1 as we head into game number 6. Alright, here we are for game number 6. Solid start. We're on the play. We get an Outlaw Medic for some lifelink. We got a bunch of Graveyard Recursions, so I like the Conduit Pylons too. See if we surveil a creature. We did not, but we also don't really want to draw Ariet's Lullaby right now. We want to find some lands because we have a bunch of great expensive spells, and we ideally want to hit some permanents to reanimate with all these spells. Playing against a red deck. There's the green source, but honestly don't really want to play Rutstein right now. I guess I can't anyway. I don't have a black source out yet since I played Pylons turn 1 instead of a colored land. Oh no. Divine Justice here. Let's just get bombed by Sandstorm Salvager. This card is insanely good. A 1-1 and a 3-3 no matter what is a really, really good baseline. And if it manages to stick around, it just keeps buffing up all your tokens and giving them trample. So it's already good by itself, but if they play any other token production, the card gets completely disgusting. So we need to get to 6 mana ASAP to clear that thing out, which I think means chumping just to draw a card. And this also puts a creature in our grave so we can kill it with a back for more. Like if we have no creatures in our grave, back for more doesn't count as removal. Now we have a creature in grave. Where's all the hard removal though? Because we need it quickly. And we have a lot of it. They're gonna have 5 mana, they need 3 mana removal for Gisa. We go for it. Even if they have the 3 mana removal for Gisa, if it isn't exile and they're green-red, then we can back for more Gisa instead, killing the Salvager off of that and getting some zombies for future blocks. You know, back for more Gisa is probably good enough to block here. Oh no, they didn't read the ward. Oh no, this is their first time against Gisa. Yeah. Ward is insanely rude. I think Arena asks, are you sure? But maybe it doesn't, and they just got absolutely got there. Well, that's not really super fair here. This is the kind of thing that if you're playing paper Magic, not in a tournament setting or anything, like a Grand Prix or whatever, but just like at F&M, you're just like, Gisa's got ward, you can keep that in hand for later. You know, like you can allow those takesies backsies, but there's no option on Arena to be like, could I just let my opponent takesies backsies that one? This is such a weird back from ward, but I want to trigger Gisa, and killing the Salvager is fine to do it. I still have a Badlands Revival, so I don't mind risking Gisa. She would die to the 1 red mana quick draw combat trick, but in my experience, I've probably played against that card like 1 time. Alright, they've got the Journey to Nowhere still, so they do still get to exile Gisa, and that's really unfortunate because that means she's exiled, and not put into our graveyard. So at the end of the day, it might be a plus side that their clear shot got cancelled so that they could exile Gisa instead, because if Gisa was in our grave, we would be so okay with that. So, in the end, it actually didn't work out that bad for our opponent. We gotta find something good. We just literally need like 1 removal spell, and we're good. Okay, Stagecoach Security is really good here. Could mill it and Rutstein it back. Play an Armadillo and a Rutstein this turn. When I have a Badlands Revival for value as well, I think this is fine. This means a huge swing next turn if they don't do like a bunch of removal. We just chump attack with 2 creatures to get the rest of the board in. If we top deck another land, we can even make the Armadillo a 5/5. Why has the Armadillo been decent in this deck? That card sucks. And it's making me confused that it's been okay here. I guess it's just because we really don't have other cheap plays, like I said during the draft. Okay, the removal on Rutstein from our opponent means it doesn't matter if we did hit a land. We don't have the mana to Armadillo because security costs 5 instead of 4. Badlands Revival is not that good here. Let's just security. Trump attack, my squad! Go! Oh, we hit for like 7? 6 or 7? 6 it is. That means we get to kill one of their creatures? Oh, maybe not. Nope. Ew, take out the shield. Lifelink. So annoying. Prolonger of games. It's haste. Or they gain 4, or they seek creatures. Ooh, hello. Pick up a Rutstein with that. That's not bad at all, but I kind of want to kill this before they play any 4 mana value creatures. They draw a card every time they do. If they play creatures that cost 4 or more, they're going to like gain 4, give it haste, and draw a creature. So I'm pretty into killing that. We get to set up our draws too. I'm going to kill them significantly slower, but this is fine. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can play a Shepherd and either of these. That's just snap keeps. Incredible draws coming up. Not used to 2-mana removal. That is just really efficient, even by this format standards. So 2 2-mana removal spells on top is great. Bury my Stagecoach in the garden. Make some mulch out of it. You got it. I guess if I want to start hitting them with Shepherd of the Clouds, I have to... I have to get rid of this Keykeeper. But I want to spend removal on these better creatures. So I'm just going to journey the token first, probably. 20 life. I think we take this all and let the life totals get even here. Unless they do a massive combat trick. It's gonna be like the draw 2 combat trick. The trash the town. Yep, sure. Just cast divination. You got it. Okay. Little golem thing, you're going nowhere. Because even if this gets blown up, you're gone forever. What's the graveyard again? Not good enough for Badlands Revival. It is good enough for Shepherd. 11 life. Yeah, we can send in the 2/2. Get them down to 9. And then put Rutstein in hand. So even if they kill the Shepherd, we just bring it right back. I guess we're already in that position because of Badlands Revival, but Rutstein's better than Badlands Revival because we don't have another good permanent in our graveyard right now. We have a Sterling Hound and a 2/2. There's a desert, we're down to 10, and Greenblade's insanely big. Another Keykeeper? I can't kill both of those. Just get to keep tapping my Pegasus? So rude. Well, shoot. Well, shoot. I probably should have ordered Deserts doing Journey differently, and then tried to combat trick Deserts to the Golem instead of exile it. Because now we just can't get through the green blade on the ground. I didn't think that was going to matter, because I thought we were going to be able to get him with Shepherd, but if they have double Keykeeper, we can't. Revival still doesn't do anything. Rutstein doesn't really do anything either. So we're just on... Pass? I guess we can Sterling Hound Gardener, so at least they just, like, never have a crack back, but, like, we're not Deserts doing anything if they have double Keykeeper. Yeah, I guess since I have the Rutstein in hand, we can cash in the Badlands Revival. Or because I have the Badlands Revival, I can cash in the Rutstein, really either way you want to say it. I guess if we cash in the Rutstein, we get to hold up Deserts still. Because we just play a 2-mana Surveil. That's probably better. Well, that was a good Surveil. Cactarantula. Alright, so they've got like 2 really beefy creatures now, but if we make the board state wide enough, we just attack them with everybody. So, I'm gonna kill the little Keykeeper. 3 creatures to 6 now. I don't think the board's big enough yet. Again, still 1 creature engraved for Badlands Revival, so what, they Keykeeper that. I guess they don't even need to now, they just block Cactarantula. So, okay, 3 blockers, block the 3 biggest creatures. That's Armadillo, Shepherd, Rutstein. Take 3, 4, 5, 6. They survive at 3 life, but then I Badlands Revival post-combat. Maybe good enough? Probably not. Probably have to pass. Yeah, I think I'm going to play another creature and pass for now. Tap Rutstein. I guess so that if that dies, I don't get to graveyard occur that. Land for our opponent. Land for us. Okay, now they block Shepherd, Rutstein, Armadillo, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I Badlands Revival. They go to like 2 life, whatever. And since they tapped the Servant, they actually go to dead. Because that means another 3-power creature is getting through instead of a 1-power creature if their last card in hand is not something, then they're dead on board. 6, 7, 8, 9, exactly. Okay. We'll take it. We are now 5-1 in the money out of this draft, and only 2 wins away from Mythic and 2 wins away from a 7-win run. Fingers crossed. A couple wins in a row could be awesome for us, but really, we've had an excellent... Where did I get a March Machine pack? Oh, probably the Mastery Pass. We've had an excellent record in Outlaws of Thunder Junction Alchemy so far, so cannot be unhappy to be up in gems no matter what happens from here, so we'll just see. Keep our expectations reasonable, but hope for the best. Keep our fingers crossed as we head into game number 7. All right, here we are for game 7. This is not a keepable hand. Yeah, the mana's really bad. We're not doing anything to like turn 4 off of the black. Yeah, we would have to draw perfect mana here, so let's take the... All right, Arena. Mole to 5 is forced. Well... We're on the draw with Survivalist, Medic, and Lullaby in hand off of 1 land draw. With 16 lands left in these 33 cards, it's about a 50-50 chance each draw step. We get to flip 2 coins in a row, and if both of them are tails, we lose this game. But if one of them is heads, this is actually a reasonable start. Especially Survivalist with Medic, buffing up a lifelinker. This is not a good idea, I imagine, but here I am. Hey, never didn't have it. Our opponent's black, so they could just have a 2-mana Desert Stew and kill the Survivalist before anything happens, but not off of a single black mana. The only thing that kills a 0/1 flyer for a single black mana at common in the format is Skullduggery, and you can't cast Skullduggery without a creature of your own on board. So let's go. We get 1 permanent buff from Survivalist no matter what, making our Medic a 2/3 lifelink, which is insane. Ooh, yeah, we're getting another buff. They don't have removal for Survivalist still. Drawn to Desert Stew, not great, but not horrible. Just make Outlaw Medic a 3/3 lifelinker. Sure. Probably not right, but because they're green as well, I'm just gonna hold up Desert Stew in case they try to use fight removal on the Survivalist. Then I can just counter it. Okay, that's not fight removal, so... Oh, it's exile too? Yikes. Okay. So we're just gonna hold on to the Desert Stew for later then, I think. Well... No, let's just cash it in. Maybe our lifelinker gets to find a way through then. Mourner Surprise, that's so sad. We even top-decked the Graveyard Recursion against the exile removal spell. Sadness on the stack. I'm like that Wolverine meme, I'm just looking at the picture longingly. Survivalist, where are you? Ah, how could you mill a land? So rude. Another land! Stop milling my mana! No! Well, I mean, okay, we won the very first coin flip, which was important, but now we've lost a lot of coin flips. We're down to 3 cards in hand. We might be okay. I don't think I can just mourn or surprise a Death Toucher for next turn. Oh no. Yeah, this is a taste of my own medicine. This card is broken in half. This card won us so many games in our Gruul deck. Shutting off a creature's ability to block perpetually is really stupid. Like, right, this Medic cannot attack for the rest of eternity. Or sorry, can't block for the rest of eternity. At least it's got 3 power with that lifelink, so it still matters, but I mean, we literally have to just kill the Grazer. Or any of our other plays just don't matter at all. The fact that it keeps damage on it forever, that part doesn't matter too much, but... Oh, Heist. I think the way Lootmonger is worded, they get to Heist my library even if they don't discard a card. So if they cast that first and then play Lootmonger, they'd just be up a card, but I might be wrong. I think that's how it works. Anyway, we're just way too stuck on mana now. We took a gamble on the keep. It worked okay at the start, but we won one coin flip out of like 5 or 6 at this point. And that is not enough. I can't even gain life on the attack because the first strike. So I stay at 6 here. Play a single blocker. I guess I go to 8 with a single blocker. If they pulled removal from my deck, which is quite likely, we're just dead. Even if they didn't, I just trade, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go to 1. Yeah, there's just no coming back. Let's just move on. All right, here we are now for game number 8. We're 5-2 now, so a single loss and we're out. This hand looks really, really nice. Much safer than our last keep. The Servant into Journey is a sweet start. We've even got the Rutstein to bring back the Servant if we do want to sacrifice it to tutor and do that combo. Commit the crime with Journey to get rid of the blocker to send in and search for whatever we need, which is probably just Gisa. We always need Gisa. Who doesn't? Mourner's Surprise is the draw. Not a bad one at all. It's a Prairie Survivalist to cast next turn. That I will keep. We just cast Prairie Survivalist instead next turn, unless they play a really good 2-drop. Alchemist is pretty good. I don't think it's so good that I want to not play Prairie Survivalist right now, though. With Honest Rutstein in hand, actually, I will just block Alchemist with Servant if it attacks. Although we're probably going to have to Rutstein the Survivalist back, to be fair. If they don't exile her. Send an Alchemist. Yeah, now that I think of holding Rutstein to pick up the Survivalist, I don't think I'm trading Servant into Alchemist in that case. Because I won't have Rutstein to bring back Servant. Alright, they find their desert for next turn. Can journey to nowhere the Alchemist to turn Servant into a land. That actually seems like kind of a big deal. Because we're stuck on mana. Security's already pretty big. Make just a nasty big Rutstein. It's really low toughness though. No, I'll buff the security. Alright, cash you in. Let's grab a green-black duel. Yeah, we need green mana pretty badly. Green-black would be helpful. We've got a double black card in hand, so being able to do a double black spell and a single black spell in the same turn could be big. The only argument for not doing that would be to leave more free crimes in our deck in case we hit Gisa later. But we're no longer tutoring for Gisa since we tutored for land. Unless I draw another servant, which is possible. Alright, no cheap removal from our opponent. Survivalists are just going to keep going to town. Yeah, pre-combat security looks pretty dang fine to me. Now we are just making Rutstein comically big, but that's fine. It's a 5-2 Rutstein. $12-13, and they've got a lifelinker on board. It's going to be close. They plot a shark. Take a turn off. In a pretty quick game. Send in the team. They just trump here, really. I mean, they can try to double block, but against 6 open mana, I don't think they will. Okay, they did. So this is nasty. Consume the lifelinker so they have less life, and then kill both these things. Put a 1/1 mercenary on this board. Slightly more damage. I don't know if the mana efficiency is worth losing out on a piece of graveyard recursion. I'm going to pass here, but with our opponent at 8, it might be worth just making a mercenary token. We technically don't lose the graveyard recursion, right? We get back like a Sterling Hound here, I guess. But we're not getting back anything really good. Reanimate the servant on blocks. Very cute. There's the loan shark to draw a card, even more blockers. I guess if they specifically had reanimate, it would have been worth picking up the mercenary, because then we'd hit for 6 in the sky, but we didn't know they were about to lose another 2 life. So we were pretty confident it was going to take 2 hits to kill them either way. Any way to buff for 1 extra damage here? There is not. No way to get 1 extra point of damage in, so we just send in with Survivalist and put them to 1. And then we play a big Trampler. Get rid of that Summoning Sickness for next turn. Which is why we would rather do that than plot it and play Mourner's Surprise. Alright, no removal from our opponent means they are super dead, and we are now 6-2 once again, making it all the way to the final battle. This will be the last game of Magic, win or lose, the deciding factor between whether or not we just get 3 trophy runs in a row for 100% trophy rate in the Outlaws of the Thunder Junction Alchemy format or not. Or if we end the insane win streak and actually just have a reasonable, incredibly good win rate in the Alchemy format. We'll see. We'll see. Let's head into that final battle. See how it all wraps up. All right, here we are on the play for the final battle with turn 2 Prairie Survivalist. That's a snap keep. The one issue is the lack of black mana, since black is a core color of the deck, but if we hit any land, Oasis Gardener can be our black source. Armadillo? Because I'm going to be mostly tapping Oasis Gardener, as dumb as it is, I kind of want to buff Armadillo. That way it still does something, even when we're not using its ability, because we are rarely using its ability. 3rd mana, that's Oasis Gardener time. I don't love that they can just kill it with Varmint, but then we've killed Varmint, so... yeah, that's going to be the play, sadly. Oh, that's so perfect. I mean, maybe we Journey to Nowhere the Varmint just so that we can keep Oasis Gardener on board, since I do have a Consuming Ashes for later. If I had double white, that'd be easily the play, but I don't. This is kind of rough, but I am just going to play Gardener here. Oof. Wow, they can throw from the saddle and still kill the gardener. That was a really good turn for our opponent. Just deal with the whole board. Gross. It's like the worst combination of cards they could have had for us. Yep. Alright. Well, we slowed the game down. Gives us time to hit our black sources, which we have like 9 of, I think. Statistically speaking, we have a lot of really good draws, and we're pretty likely to find black mana. We have 8 black sources, not 9. But they just milled 3 non-lands, so the odds just became better for us. And we still hit another non-land. Annoying. Them milling us is not that big of a deal, because we like filling our graveyard with the amount of graveyard recursion we have. So I kind of feel like I'm supposed to pass here. Save Journey for something worse. I don't know, if this sticks around too long, they could still mill us out of the game. It is a theoretical win condition. Yeah, I do have more removal later. I have a Death Toucher for any ground threats that they play once I have a single black. And if we ever hit double black, we have another removal spell. Hard Bristle Bandit. The 5-color deck just doing laps around us right now, mana-wise. They have all 5 colors, and then some, thanks to the Bandit. At least they're down to 13, and now we do have the black source. The second black would be very, very nice, though, still. Overzealous Muscle. Okay, not the biggest problem. There's the Mourner Surprise. We found the Graveyard Recursion for Survivalist. That's pretty awesome. That feels like the play, then. Yeah, the alternative is just like a Servant of the Stinger. Yeah, this is so much better than that. I guess picking up the Gardener is mildly tempting. Buff the Shepherd because Stinger's already going to be just a Death Touch trade into anything. This doesn't get lifelink, does it, right? Yeah, just indestructible. So we just take 5. Or we can chump with the 1/1. But they're pretty low on life, so the Mercenary to buff the Flyer seems good. We can go down to 12 to hit them a little harder. I'm going to do the +1/+1, shoot something else. Slightly annoying, but any land gives us Badlands Revival. Yeah. Oh, that's not the +1/+1. So they're just doing it mid-combat for fun. No extra damage or anything. So they can Rictus Robber. They could have still done it like main phase 2. Oh, no. Alright. Land draw would have been insane. Mystical Tether's still okay. We're under some pressure here. Really do need land 5. Land 5 does so much work right now. But I can tether, double block a Rictus Robber, take 3 on board. Unfortunately, their entire hand is non-lands as well. They did not play a land last turn, so they've got a lot of action still. Alright, any combat trick here is going to be pretty bad for us, but I can't really take a third of my life total right now. Beautiful draw, beautiful draw. No matter what I cast, I'm putting 1 actual creature on board, so I feel like it's best to play the Shepherd and put the Survivalist in my hand, so we have a bigger creature instead of just the 3/1 body. think that is pretty good. You could have the blue counter spell, but if a 5-color deck's running a counter spell, like, well, I guess they are. Decisive Denial. I mean, that would be insane, but I guess they get me. That's what they have. I think this is the best play. There's no way you're 5-color and you run a double blue counter spell. Get literal mana drained. Oh. That's so gross. If they do an X mana spell after this, I'm gonna concede. Well, I want to concede. I might not. Okay, thank goodness. Could you imagine if they did that and they just formed a posse with all the mana drain mana? Still get to dump all of it into this to still have the rest of their mana untapped for another spell? Okay. Congratulations. Your 5-color deck hit double blue mana drain. Now I'm just getting salty now. Now I'm more salty about our mana issues this game. How can the 5-color deck play a double blue counter on us while we're still just not finding black? God dang it, man. Now the double 6/7 just kills us. Yeah, we just straight lose. No. Alright. I don't think there's much else we could have done here. We just got pretty dang unlucky on this one. The game would have played out pretty different had we journeyed to nowhere the Voracious Varmint, so I really just thought, statistically speaking, we would hit more black mana by now, and it would have been better to save it for something better. But we didn't, so it would have been way better to just Varmint away. Or journey the Varmint so we could keep the Gardener. I don't think there's any way to not just take lethal here. Block. I guess I could, like, go... God dang it. I can trump a 7/7, block a 2/2 with a 5/3 and take 7, go to 2. Then try to do something on the crackback. Feels like the only plan. If they have literally nothing left, maybe we're there. So that goes to the board. Survivalist goes to hand for later. Gardener for maybe life gain for later. No, 1 mana blocker seems like a big deal. We take that. They need to have literally nothing from here, but that doesn't seem super likely because they missed land drops earlier. So their last card is probably non-creature, or sorry, non-land. Wow. It's a 3-for-1 removal spell. Three blockers worth of cards. If somehow the Metamorphic Blast drew them absolutely nothing, I can trump everywhere. Ay, ay, ay. We can go to 1 if they have literally nothing left, but they have an instant even. Big RIP. I don't even get to keep my flyer here to have any chance of a counterattack or anything. Because it has to trump. Unless they do this. What on earth? Why would you not just send all? Okay, I keep one maybe counterattacker. Well, you know, it might be better to save Armadillo at this point for something that can block a creature without dying. No, I think I need the extra power to make my other creatures big enough to kill something. Well, we didn't get completely wiped there, and we absolutely could have been. They could have just sent everybody and forced all my creatures to block. I wouldn't have a survivalist left. And then I would be dead here no matter what I do. Now I have the tiniest chance in the universe? No, I don't. Survivalist has to die on the block this turn, and it's only going to be 5 power, so I can't kill the elemental with it. So I have to trade it into a 2/1, and Consuming Ashes the elemental go to 1. I think that's better than playing Stagecoach Security. It's like slightly safer. I just don't understand how I'm still technically alive right now. I don't see any possible outcome where we win this game. But I don't know. I will play it out. Yeah, I mean, they still have an instant. It's probably just like Snakeskin Veil and they just kill us. If it was Snakeskin Veil, they could have killed us last turn. Just attacking with everybody. We can't block Bandit and they veil it. I was basically tapped out. Or just killed us. Something else here. Weave the Nightmare? Counterspell? Wow. Alright. That's magic, baby. Dang. It's rough. Yeah. I guess we really just should have journeyed the varmint. That was like the only play of the game, I think, that changes things. Just a slightly bad line does butterfly effect into a full-on loss here because we just drew really bad mana against perfect mana. Again, the double blue counterspell out of a 5-color deck was such a gross way to lose here. I mean, I guess they're mostly Sultai, but still, like, they had so many non-blue lands. They have a black-white and a green-red and 2 swamps. Yeah. What can you do? I think because of the fact that we still managed to grind things out so much in the end there, even off of just being way behind, just awkward mana, I think if we had Journey to Nowhere the Varmint, we probably end this game with a victory. But I was playing under the consideration that we would hit the swamp before like 10 cards in or something. Or double swamp before like 10 cards in. Because we do have 8 black sources. We only hit 2 in the top 21. I think even without hindsight, though, it was better to just Journey to Nowhere the Varmint to keep the Gardener on board. Obviously, with hindsight, it would have been way better to do that, but I think I was playing a little too risky. Even if we are likely to draw 4 or 5 black sources in the top 20 instead of just the 2 that we found, we still would have been able to play things like guaranteed if we could have kept the Gardener around instead of taking a gamble. Like, even if it's a weighted coin flip in your favor, when the other option is like almost a guarantee of having the mana, we should have just went with the other option, even if it meant having less removal. Because having that less removal would have meant casting Consuming Ashes earlier because we would have had one of the 2 black sources towards that, so it's not even like that much less removal in hand to not have the Journey. Really sad way to end it, because I really thought this deck was more than good enough to find another 7-win, and we could just have 3 trophy runs in a row, but even the greatest players, it's going to be super unlikely to maintain a 100% trophy rate, so I'll just keep my 70-something% win rate in these alchemy drafts. We don't get to trophy every single draft. I am bummed about it, but we still have an absurdly high win rate. We're still way up in gems in these drafts, and this was still a really fun, really powerful deck that had a great record overall. Just think I made a minor misplay that snowballed into an entire game loss in the end, and that's just a real bummer way to lose to a mistake of your own. Again, don't think it was a massive punt or anything, but it was a big enough punt to lose us the game, and 6-3 instead of 7-2 is the end record. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and are interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more new recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.